I'm Connor Northrup. I'm now joined by UFC featherweight Sean Woodson, who takes on Youssef Zalal at UFC Fight Night 189, June 5th. How are you, Sean?
Wonderful. Ready to get in there and get to it. How you doing?
Good, good, good. I think the last time, actually, I was looking today because I know I had talked to you before. It was almost a year ago. It was like 11 months it said on the site, which was pretty crazy. But how you been?
Yeah, too long, too long. I've been good, man. Had that little injury, which probably kept us from talking, But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm doing good now. Healed up, ready to go, feeling great shape. Can't wait to get in there.
Yeah. What was the injury, if you don't mind me asking?
I tore some cartilage in my rib,
Okay.
but yeah, like those ribs are funny. You can't put it in a cast or do anything like that. All you can do is just sit around and let them heal up. And I didn't want to, jump back in training early and not let it heal up fully. I wanted to make sure it was 100% before I got back in
For
there, and
sure.
it's 100%.
Yeah. Have you ever had anything like an injury like that before? Like, was this kind of unique in that way?
Yeah, it was unique. It was my first time ever experiencing that. I freaked out when it first happened. Like right away, I knew something was seriously wrong, and yeah, it was just one of those freak accidents. It was the last day of my last hard training session before the
Oh
fight.
man.
One of the last rounds. Yeah, I know I've heard that story from other fighters before, where they're like, the last hard training day, last round. Literally, it was the last round, last hard day. Twisted the wrong way, and it was all bad.
Yeah. You were saying too that there wasn't really much you could do as far as like, recuperating and getting back. So like what did you do during that time to kind of, make the days, go by a little faster?
Pretty much what I do all the time in my free time is watch fights, play Call of Duty, and yeah, just hang out with my family. Hang out with my girlfriend, just sitting around, really watching fights and playing Call of Duty. It's pretty much all I do.
Yeah. I know when I was talking to Julian Marquez before he made his like long return too, and he said that he was watching a lot of fights during his injury, and what he ended up doing was he started betting, and he started with just his division, but then he was like, well, I went through the whole division already, so then he started going to other divisions, and he said
Yeah,
he was making some decent money. Did yours ever get to that point?
that's funny you brought that up. I did actually like during that time I downloaded DraftKings, which
Yeah.
I'm aware of now. That's not like the best way to do it. There's better ways to bet on fights, but yeah, I downloaded DraftKings, and yeah, every week I was making my lineups, betting on fights. I think the most I won on DraftKings was like $6 or something like that. But yeah, I need to figure out how I can just bet straight up on the fights. Like be like I want to put $100 on this fight, or because on DraftKings you got to pick a lineup, and yeah, it's kind of confusing. But yeah, I definitely got into betting on the fights.
Yeah. I think DraftKings has a deal with UFC now, so maybe you should have bad math. I'm just kidding. But
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, DraftKings is great. DraftKings is
yeah, I'm just trying to help you out.
appreciate it.
But yeah, so now obviously, like you said, you're finally, you feel back to normal, dude. Like, how do you feel physically right now?
The best shape of my life, honestly. This camp has been. I knew about this fight 12 weeks out. It's been about a 12-week camp, and yeah, I made sure to make the best of that time. I didn't want to waste any of that time. Especially during this COVID, they're not really giving out full camps. A lot of the fights are 2-3 weeks notice. So I was just praying for a 6 to 8 week camp. If I could get that, I was going to be super happy. And they gave me a 12-week camp. So yeah, I definitely didn't want to take it for granted. I've been using the best of this time to get in the best shape of my life.
Yeah. Do you feel like that COVID era too, though? Do you feel like that's going to start changing soon more, where it kind of goes back to normal too? Because we're starting to see, crowds now. UFC 262 is going to be the second one with crowds, 17,000, I believe, in Texas. So, like, do you feel like we're kind of starting to get to normalcy a little more?
Yeah, things are starting to feel normal. I seen that first crowd, the first show with crowds in
Yeah.
Jacksonville, and man, that got me amped up just watching it on TV. Like I instantly like I almost felt like I was there. I can't wait to fight in front of a crowd again. And yeah, I've been seeing I follow all the MMA pages on Instagram, and like when they announce matchups, before it was every single matchup they were announcing was 2 to 3 weeks out, but now it seems that they're giving everybody full camps and that things are getting back to normal.
Yeah. That last fight too was with no crowd. What did you kind of make of that too? Was it weird with no crowd? Or was that something that you kind of blocked out? Like, how that kind of?
Oh, it really makes me no difference. But I mean, if I had to pick, I would prefer the crowd. You know, I
Mhm.
feed off the crowd. I love to perform. My debut was in front of a crowd, and that was probably the most fun I've ever had in my life. But my contender series fight, which is how I got
Oh
here, that
yeah.
was with no crowd, and yeah, that didn't bother me too much. And yeah, I do a real good job of having tunnel vision and just focusing on my opponent and the task at hand. So yeah, it really don't make me any difference.
Yeah. Probably with the injury and everything, that Julian Rosa fight probably seems years ago at this point. But what'd you learn from that?
Yeah, it was a year ago, but man, it feels like it just happened yesterday. I'm still mad. Uh, I'm gonna, you said what did I take from that fight?
Yeah, like it was there any like did you take any positives from that first loss? Like, what were kind of the feelings after that?
Yeah, like believe it or not, yeah, I took more positives than negatives from that fight. Yeah, as crazy as it sounds, the main thing I took from that fight was this is where I belong. You know, going into that fight, it was on 2 weeks' notice, and I was
Hmm.
nowhere near, prepared like I normally am. And yeah, I just remember thinking, halfway through that first round, I'm like, man, this is where I belong. This dude, he had 3 to 4 times as many fights as me, and I still had that fight won. It wasn't, halfway through the first, I was well from the first bell, I was waiting to feel that, that experience difference, that that his experience. I thought his experience was going to come into play. He might, pull some tricks that I haven't seen before or whatnot, but that wasn't the case at all. I felt like my skill was, above and beyond his for sure. And the only thing I can remember is just thinking about how tired I was halfway through the first. I was gassed out. I didn't feel a skill difference or anything like that. And yeah, I just remember thinking, I'm like, man, this is where I belong. I'm, probably at 20 to 30% right now, and this dude can barely do anything to me. But yeah, I just took that, I'm right where I belong in the UFC.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, you make a great point too. Because you talk about like the short notice, but like it's not like he's like a newcomer coming in too. I mean, he's a guy who this is
Veteran.
his third stint too, and I mean he's doing very well right now too. So I
Yeah, I
actually do have
keep
a
doing well.
yeah. What'd you say?
I said I hope he keeps doing well too. Yeah,
I
for damn sure.
Perfect segue because I wanted to ask you about that because I talked to a lot of fighters and they all kind of say the same thing. When you lose to somebody, you hope they do well because that's only
Yeah,
gonna raise your stock too. So, are you the biggest Julian Erosa fan now?
man, do your thing, Julian. If you watching this, keep on. Like I seen that flying knee, that was nice. Hopefully we can, run it back one day soon. Yeah, if he keeps winning, and I know I'm about to get back in the win column, and I'm gonna keep winning, and our paths will cross eventually again.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, and then obviously you got this one now too. Just for what's like the hunger going into this one? Because not only do you have that first loss, which I'm sure is motivation itself, but also that long layoff too. I'm sure you weren't expecting that. So what is it just like to finally almost have this here? Like, what's that feeling?
Yeah, man, I'm not a fan of these long layoffs. If I can have it my way, I want to fight every 3 to 4 months. And yeah, like I said earlier about that, my last fight, even though it was over a year ago, man, it feels like it happened just yesterday.
Mhm.
I'm still mad as if if it was the same night. But
Yeah,
I definitely haven't been dwelling on it, this whole year because I do a really good job of only focusing on what I can control. And right after that fight, I was pretty upset that night. But the next day, I told myself, okay, no matter what, I'm gonna get another fight. There's gonna be a day where I can do something about it. Instead of just
yeah.
thinking about it. I just have been preparing for the day where I can actually get in there and do something about it. And that day is right around the corner, and I'm super happy about it.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. You're taking on Youssef Zalal. I mean, he's a guy who lost his last two, but I mean, this time last year he was on the rise. He was on a pretty impressive win streak too. So what do you kind of make of him? On first glance.
Yeah, he's really good, really talented. Slick, flashy striker like myself. He started off on a tear in the UFC. He won his first three in a row. He dropped his last two, but even dropping those last two, they were to two really solid opponents. I don't,
Hmm.
discredit him at all for that. And both
Yeah.
of those losses, I believe, were on short notice as well. So, I don't, I'm not taking him lightly at all. I know the kid is really good, really well rounded, but so am I, and I think it's gonna make for a really exciting fight.
Yeah. Yeah. You were talking about quick turnarounds. I mean, when I think about quick turnarounds, I think of him and like Kevin Holland during that time. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
They both were moving fast. Is there one certain area where you feel like you're better, or do you feel like just kind of all around?
I mean, yeah, in my opinion, I feel like I'm all around better, but the area that sticks out for sure is on the feet. I feel like
Hmm.
I'm, for sure, every other area might be debatable, but on the feet, I feel like I'm for sure better than him. And I mean, I doubt he probably doesn't agree with that, but I mean, even if he does feel like he's a better striker than me, I don't feel like he's gonna come to strike this fight. I feel like especially coming off my last fight, we all know what happened. I think he's gonna be coming to take this to the ground and get it there early.
Yeah. I think even if your opponent agreed with you, you'd probably think it was just like a trap or something too. So
Yeah, it's a lot of mental warfare in this game, man. For
yeah.
sure.
Do you have like any kind of like prediction or is there a certain way that you kind of visualize this fight going?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna meet him in the middle right away. I believe you, like I said, he's gonna be pursuing that takedown early, and I'm gonna be defending it. And if he pursues it too much, he could gas himself out trying to get the takedown. But I definitely feel like he'll be pressured to get that takedown, and I feel like that'll play to my advantage. And both of our backs are against the wall here. I'm coming off of a loss. He's coming off of two losses. So, I know we're both probably coming to this with a chip on our shoulder. And I feel like that's going to make for a fight that, the judges won't be needed. I feel like we're both going to be looking to take each other out. And yeah, I feel like that's going to happen. There's going to be a finish in this fight.
Yeah. You said earlier that you were watching fights. Were you watching like your division, or were you watching just like some classic fights? What were you kind of checking out?
Oh, I watch any and all fights. I try to watch, whatever live fight is on at the time that's on. And if there aren't any live fights, yeah, I mainly watch my division. I've probably watched every single guy in my division fight 2 to 3 times over. And yeah, I just scout my division. I feel like that's the smartest thing to do.
Yeah. Do you like? I don't know if you remember exactly, but do you remember how many times you watched The Law?
It's too many times to count. Too many times to count. Yeah.
Was that like? Did you watch him a lot like, but before that, or then you're like, oh man, like I've seen this guy a bunch of times, or did you start
Oh,
watching him a little more once you like,
Oh,
knew he
I
was your
thought you were meant
opponent?
during this fight camp. I was gonna
Oh
say
no,
fight
no,
camp
no.
had too many times to count, but beforehand, I never. I mean, I've seen him fight live. Yeah, I don't miss the UFC. I watch the fights every weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when he made his debut against Austin Lingo. We fought on the same card together when he fought
Okay.
Jordan Griffin. I've seen his fight against Sung Woo Choi, Tapuria. I think that's how you say that guy's name. Little bitty short dude. Uh, Peter Barrett. I saw all those fights live, and I went back and rewatched those fights multiple times during this camp too as well. Yeah, like I said, the kid's flashy striker. This is a matchup that I'm excited for, super excited for.
Yeah. When you're watching the fights too, is there one fighter you tend to kind of gravitate towards? One guy that you just like watching his style, that kind of thing?
I'm a huge Jorge Masvidal fan. That's my favorite fighter. I would say my favorite fighter is Conor McGregor, but he's legendary status. And he fights every blue moon. So uh yeah, I don't really, I hold him like, my favorite boxer of all time is, Muhammad Ali, but my favorite active boxer is Tyson Fury. So
Okay.
yeah, I kind of hold McGregor, legendary status. But after that, yeah, Masvidal is my favorite guy. I like Israel Adesanya, uh, Sean Strickland. I'm a huge fan of Sean Strickland, Shane Burgos, uh, Gegard Mousasi. Those are, some of my favorites off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, I think Strickland just got a big fight too. I think it was announced maybe today. I'm trying to remember who
Yeah,
it was.
Uriah Hall.
Yes,
Yeah, Uriah
yes.
Hall in August. That's a good one, man. I want to see Strickland versus Kevin Holland. I've seen them talking about that fight.
Oh,
That would be a really good fight, I think. Kevin Holland
yeah,
versus
that would be
Strickland. They
good.
be talking to each other the whole time.
Yeah,
That'd be a good one. But yeah, he's going against Uriah Hall. That's a good matchup too.
yeah, yeah. You're right. He won't talk with him though.
Yeah, no. He won't talk. He'll strike with him though. They're both going to be striking it out. Neither one of
For
those
sure.
guys. I don't think I've ever seen either one of them shoot a takedown in a fight.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
But
that's why I'm super excited about this matchup with Zalal too. Like, either way you cut it, like I don't think this fight, I don't think it's possible for this fight to be boring.
yeah. And that's it. Like, does it like when you think about like that too? That like does that get you more like amped up for a fight? Like, I mean, I'm not a fighter, so I don't know like what kind of emotions you go through, like before fighting things. But like when like when you're expecting another guy to do that too, like does that get you like more amped up for it? Like,
I mean, I get probably the same amount of amp for every fight, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, when you're going against a guy who, he just wants to, take like a strong wrestler who just wants to take you down and hold you there, though, there's mixed feelings with those fights, but yeah, a fight like this with a guy who's, flashy and exciting like Youssef, that's super exciting. I mean, I do believe he's coming to, grapple for sure, but he's not the type of guy to take me down and hold me down. If he does get me down to the ground, he's going to be looking to submit me or, grind and pound me, and it's going to be an exciting fight either way you look at it.
Yeah, for sure. You're talking about your favorite fighters. I saw Tyson Fury was training with Diaz too. Did you check that out?
Yeah, I did, man. Yeah, did you see Nick Diaz on the punching bag?
I didn't see that part. No.
Oh man, go look at the video. And that dude, that's another one. Like the Diaz brothers are two, huge influences on me. I huge fan of those guys. I hope Nick was playing on that punching bag though, man. I hope he wasn't for real. You got to go back. You got to check it out. But yeah, I did. That was cool to see them link up.
Yeah. No, I'll have to check that out. And no, that was great. I was like, it was like what two characters too?
Yeah,
Nick Diaz and Fury. That was crazy.
Tyson Fury's he's been hinting and talking about he's gonna get into MMA. I think out
Yeah.
of all the boxers, like he'd be the one crazy enough to do it,
Hey, in the times we live in now, where YouTubers are boxers, I'm not taking anything. I'm sure anything is possible.
Right, man. All through during these times though, where you got these like a bunch of MMA fighters going over to boxing, I've been seeing people say that no boxer is gonna have the balls to go over to MMA, which I agree. I don't think they will, but I feel like people all this era, this time, people need to give more credit to James Toney. People forgot him. He's the one who did it. I mean, even though it didn't work out for him, he still had the heart to come over and do it.
He
You know what
still
I'm
did
saying?
it. He still tried it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see Fury doing that though.
He's about the only one. He's about the
Yeah.
only one I can see crazy enough to do it for sure.
Yeah, that would be crazy. But yeah, we were talking about the Diaz brothers too. One funny story too actually is my high school wrestling coach was Kurt Pellegrino, and
Okay.
Diaz too. I always liked the Diaz brothers, but I always like with Nate too. Is like because that iconic middle finger choke that was
Never
against
forget
Kurt.
I'll never forget it. Kurt Pellegrino, that's old school. Yeah, I remember that when he locked up and gave the camera the double birds. I was like, damn, this dude is gangster. Yeah, I remember that.
And I remember the Fox card too when he was fighting Henderson. It kept blacking out, and everyone was like, "Why does he keep blacking out?" And then they found out he was giving the middle finger the whole fight.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember exactly. I watched that live too. Yeah, I remember it kept blurring out, but I knew what it was. I knew the moment they were blurring it out. I'm like, oh, he in there flicking them off, talking crazy. I knew it.
But Sean, I appreciate the time. Anything you want to say before I let you go?
June 5th, tune in. I'm gonna get back in the win column, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Follow me on Instagram, STL Sniper 314, and yeah, can't wait to get back in there. Appreciate the time.